This party. Let's go. All right. Community group call Monday evening. Let's do this, girls. I love, honestly, I gotta say this, okay? And for a coach is like a breath of fresh air when you read the clients check in and I know we haven't had too many probably yet from uh, you know, a lot of people because Coach Holly does her check-ins on the weekends and Coach Lindsay and I we do it, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. But I mean, Coach Holly's clients, holy cow! Like I can't say for our clients yet. Hold on, hold your horse because we haven't done your check-ins yet. But I know Holly already did her batch. So I was going over, everyone that did the check-ins, and I'm like super impressed. Like seriously. I mean, so many people just really taking responsibility, just doing the work, just admitting when, they fall off the wagon, asking for, resources and ideas without the whining, without complaining, this is not working for me, or this is working, or did it. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, this is like, kudos to you ladies for being an adult, right? And just, acting like we are supposed to act, you know what I mean? And here I am going with my little jabs. But I love you. And we want to make this the best experience as possible for you. I was talking to Coach Sima this week, and she said something that I was just like, it's so true, because uh, yes, if you are someone like, we talk about this all the time that are dealing with weight loss resistance, I have, a client that poor thing, it's like, holy cow, for a coach, it's the hardest thing to see someone that is literally crossing every T and dotting every I for a long period of time and not seeing anything. It's like he's just like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Um, and we do have a few clients like that. Uh, and as far as the results, it's not the physical results as far as how they look on aesthetics, but they are, feeling much better, sleeping better, better mood. So there's different kinds of wins that we talk about, right? But for the average woman that do the work, and I was talking to Seema about this. Um, we can argue about a lot of things, right? We can argue religion, we can argue, you know, um, nutrition, like what kind of foods work for you and doesn't work. We can argue, access. We can argue so many things. But there is one thing we cannot argue, and that is science, right? We can't argue science. You know what I mean? Um, and macros, it's science. There's science behind the macros. It just works all the time. Obviously, the scientist behind has to be able to perform the science correct, right? But macros work 100% of the time, girls, if really stick to it properly. I was talking, who was it that I had a call with that I saw? I think it was Amanda. I don't think Amanda is on the call right now. And you know, she jumped on that 4 week challenge that we had. She was a little bit on and off, not seeing much results. And then she jumped on a 4 week challenge that we had, and she pretty much followed, right? Because we didn't put anything extra there besides the plank, right? We just like do this, do what you need to do, but let's just do this as a challenge. And sure enough, she lost, I think, 4 pounds. Amanda Jacobs, right? In 4 weeks, and I was like, what did you learn about this? She's like, my level of commitment is really what determines, the results. And unfortunately, not everybody's like, our homegirl Kim, Kimberly Doily, some reason Kimberly Doily just post about her, uh, you know, travel the world, drink vodka almost every night, you know what I mean? Like, and her body just responds amazingly, even though she's 56, right? So good for her, but that's not the majority of us, you know? So unfortunately, just talked to Liso today too, lost, I think 5 pounds, almost 6 pounds on the flush protocol, right? And she's like, I'm feeling amazing. I can believe it. You know, now I see all my six packs, my abs, whatever. I'm like, yeah, so that's just really what. So this is a feedback, right? This is a biofeedback that it's showing, your body is showing you what it can handle and what it cannot, right? However, unfortunately, it's not sustainable, right, for you to eat with no sugar, no gluten, no dairy, no right, no alcohol, for the rest of your life. But just understand that you got to minimize as much as possible, because unfortunately for some of us, that extra weight is literally hormonal and inflammation, girls. It's not even fat, especially for those of us, and I'm going to include myself on this, that don't have a lot of body fat to lose, but you still have that extra layer that you think it's fat. And understand that as we age, our body minimize the ability to release sodium. Okay, so now that's why it's so important for us to be drinking electrolytes every day, because that will help us really hydrate and release that sodium, not retain so much water. A lot of this extra layer that you see that is not as tight is really coming from water retention, and also not for a very optimized gut. I was just studying this today. So that's why the flush is so good. We see, like, I saw another client with Piper did the flush protocol, and she's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen my six packs in so long, because it really supports your gut microbiome. So we got to understand that inflammation is a real thing. And I honestly think that the flush protocol has been, since I started coaching, two things that I've learned in my program since I started coaching what I do for the last 5 years. And one has been the carb cycle, and number two, the flush protocol. Nothing has helped us break through more plateaus than those two things. It's just amazing how it works. So yeah, so just want to get a couple of things here. Coach Lindsay reminded me to let you girls know that I think the Vidal Mad is to have, the company that the HRT clinic that we have collaboration with, they still are running the blood work promotion. So for those of you that wants to get a full panel, your doctors most of the time don't do the full panel. And even if you did, 6 months ago, you should probably do another one pretty soon, because our hormones can change very fast. So I think it's $150, $130 for a full panel. And they are running that special for the month of October. We don't make any money off of that. We are just letting you know because they are running that special. So if you are one of those that wants to, get a, even if you don't do it right now, you can still buy it and then do it, later or whenever you can through LabCorp. So that's definitely would look into that. Something else I wanted to chat that it was super, super cool to experience this week, this past week. A couple of clients that I wish she was on the call this evening, but she's not, that came back to us, after leaving the program and gaining that weight back, right? And it was really eye-opening, to have that call with her, because she was just like, wow. She was one of those that when she had lost, I think almost 20 pounds, I can't remember how many, 15, 20 pounds, right? And she was starting to look really nice and strong and toned. And even then on the check-in call, the check-in forms, she would be always unhappy. She was always unhappy with the progress that she had. And long story short, she ended up falling off the wagon, and then her program ended, and she didn't re-sign up, and off she went with her life. Well, she just came back and re-signed up with us, and she gained the 20 pounds back plus 30, something like that. right? And on the call, she almost cried, and we had a few clients that had this same experience before, and she was like, I wish I was exactly where I was when I was complaining about how I looked back then when I had lost my 15, 20 pounds. So a lot of times we are chasing, right, a certain image, a certain goal that we have, and we tend to forget, right, to really pay attention to how far we have come, what are the wins, and really learn how to be happy with where you are in the way to where you want to go. I would just like to do this exercise real quick here, and you tell me what shows up for you. Would love to hear from you. So I would like for you to close your eyes if you can, and just take a moment to just close your eyes for a second. I'm just going to take literally a minute on this. Take a nice deep breath. And I want you to think about that image that you have of your body, the one that you were looking to achieve. What image do you see in front of you right now? What is that image that you're chasing? Really get a good handle on that image. And once you have that, you can open your eyes. And if you want to share, I would love for you to, unmute yourself and share. But what is that image that you have? Is it a six packs with a nice round booty like I have in my head of myself? With some like really nice, like, my question is that image even realistic? I'm one of those that I have a hard time to settle. I'm always trying to go after what is my best version. But even then, is that best version of you, that photo that you had it in your head, realistic for you? Who would like to share?
I'll share. This is Alex. I think ideally I start off with that image of like when I was in my 20s and in my prime. But then I kind of try to bring myself back and realize that it's not about, I'm never going to look that way again, but I have the opportunity to just have a more fit body than I have now. And my goal really is to tone and just feel good because I want to prepare. Someone said, "Why are you doing this? What are you preparing for?" I said, "I'm preparing for the rest of my life." So I really want it to be something that, what I'm going through and where I end up, it's something I want to maintain going forward because I'm still young enough. Before I'm 60, I read an article that talks about once you turn 60, it's an incremental age. Like age is not just so progressive, but there are milestones, and 60 is one of them. So before I get there, I want to be, to the best of my ability, being a wife, being a mom, is doing just the best that I can do with discipline and exercise to be the best that I can be at the time of my life.
I love it. I love it. That is an image of, how can I say, something that is a long term, right? Something that, in everything that you said, it was more about how I feel, how strong, how I'm gonna accomplish that, opposed to I want to look, and there's nothing wrong with that. Trust me, that's me, right? I have an image of a certain body that I'm chasing after, right? Because I probably feel good, so that's why I don't look for the feel, right? So everybody's gonna look for whatever you don't have, I guess. But some of us do have. Some of us, maybe where we are is realistic. And even Kim, like one of the things about Kim, the photos that I saw in 2.5 years was, I don't know if you, I'm getting here this photo really quick. It was really cool to see that transformation, because and once again, everybody's different, her body just responded amazingly. But if you can see here, for example, right, where she started, can you see it? And then this photo in the middle, she already looked great, okay, on that photo in the middle. But then she stayed with us longer, and that's what happened to the third photo, right? So she kept getting better and better, even though when she was in that middle, she still looked fantastic. If she wanted to finish right then and there, she could, have done it, right? And still be happy. And that was one of the things about Kim that I noticed as far as mindset, that she was happy with the whole process the whole entire time, right? There was always like, my gosh, I can't believe it. My gosh, I can't believe it. So if you stay in that process of wondering and like, just like, wow, this is amazing. She was constantly celebrating her progress. She was constantly celebrating how strong she was in the gym. She was constantly celebrating. See what I'm saying? So I think it's, if we stay with that positive mindset and really celebrating the wins, I don't know what it is about that, the mindset, the wrong thoughts, it just brings so much toxicity, that the body, I don't know, holds it. I don't know what the deal is, but I've noticed that the people that have a more of a relaxed approach to this process see better results for some reason. Would you girls agree, the coaches in the call? I can even think about more people right now, but they just have an easy about it. They're just like, you know what, time is just time. I'm going to go through this anyways. I'm doing this so I can see myself at 50 looking a certain way and feeling a certain way. I'm at 6. You see what I'm saying? They are looking at this as, this is it, this is my lifestyle, right? This is not a quick fix that I'm doing right now. I'm not attached to how I need to look right now. I'm just doing the work day in, just like I brush my teeth. This is what I do. This is not what I'm trying to accomplish. This is what I do. Does that make sense? This is who you are. And because this is who you are, you show up like this every day and you keep getting better and improving and you keep staying in the course, then you're gonna, it just gonna compound. You're gonna just keep looking better. It just comes with the territory. It's just who you are. Does that make sense? If you can really start to looking at that, like, this is just who I am. This is who I'm becoming. It's just a matter of time, you know? Anybody else has an image that you were like, holy cow, I didn't even think about this image and look at what popped in my head? Anybody? Nobody is? Nobody else wanted to share? I would love to hear more participation of you girls, because I'm just the one talking and talking and talking. Okay, of course, because I'm the one presenting, right? But yeah, I would love to hear more participations. But let me just see here what else Coach Lindsay recommended me to bring to this call today, so I don't forget. What is it? What is it? What is it? Okay. Yeah, so we talked about, Tamika. She's not on the call, unfortunately. Rosalind is another one that has been with us for almost 3 years, probably over 3 years now. And she doesn't even track macros, girls. And we'll try everything we can to keep her to track the macros. And I'm like, Rosalind, why do you want to resign up? Every week is the same story. She's like, Coach B, I cannot. It's like, I'm better off with you than without you. Like, please, I don't want to leave. Like, I know I'm going to do better if I'm with you. How can you say no to that? Right? I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right. You know what I mean? Like, when she came to the program, she was eating only French fries with burgers and bacon. Like, that was pretty much her diet. See what I'm saying? She had a zero concept of nutrition, zero, right? And for her to be where she's at today, she's like, this is like life changing for me. I'm not going to be doing a bikini competition, So I'm like, okay, girl, we book a call tomorrow. She just wants to re-sign up. I'm like, let's go and do some macros. Coach B, I'm just doing the best that I can, I'm like, okay, she's the cutest thing. So let's go. And we're going to keep going that way. But, one thing I want to do to touch base here. And once again, tomorrow, I can't wait to do Coach Lindsay, your check-ins, because I want to see, how your mindset for the ones that Coach Lindsay and I are coaching to really see how much more you guys are improving in your self-development and your mindset, because that's the one thing that I have been going after with you ladies. Okay. I really want to see when we talk about, what are you doing in the morning, right? With your, do you do a podcast? Do you read? What do you do? And you just answer that just so you can have an answer, but you're really not doing it. Like that doesn't work, right? So are you really listening to a podcast? I think we should do like a podcast, like challenge or something, Are you really feeding your mind, right? Because it's so simple. You just plug that thing in your ears and you can do it when you're washing your dishes, when you can do when you're walking, you can do when you're driving to work, you can do it, right? You can always listen to an audio book. I'm not a reader. I am not a reader. I listen to everything. So, but I'm constantly listening, right? And what do you do to fill up that mind? Because it's not just about the body, it's about the mind. So I'm really looking forward to continue seeing your girl's mindset, the quality of your thoughts to improve. Because honestly, just today, like I said, reading Coaches Holly's clients, it was like a fresh of a breath, like how can I say, a fresh of breath, or does it get of air breath? I don't know. You know how to say that, right? It was just like, wow, this is it. This is the woman that we are supposed to coach, right? These are the ladies that are like, let's go. I'm all in. I'm doing whatever it takes. You know what I mean? And I love to read that because you were really, stepping up the game, and that's fantastic. But one thing, that a coach Sima said, and I was just like, it's so true. She's like, you have to realize that if things are not working because of you. Okay, let that sink in for a minute. You have to realize, it doesn't matter what it is, right? But I'm always talking about primarily with health and fitness and the things. You have to realize that if things are not working because of you, right? And if it's because of you, then what needs to change, right? If you are not seeing the progress that you want to see, before you look out, do an inventory, okay? Take a moment and stop and see, okay, what is it, because I see that very often. Like there are two couple of people that happened to them in the program, and it was very like, we have seen that very often, okay? They were seeing incredible results. They started the program, they started following the macros, they follow doing the workouts, they're choosing the right kind of foods, they are working on their night routine, they are taking supplements, they are doing the HRT, they are doing fantastic, start seeing incredible results, became biggest cheerleaders, and all of that, saw incredible results, and then something happened in their lives. Okay. So once, something happened, another one, something else happened, and we were right there to support. However, since then, her level of consistency wasn't the same. Okay. And 2 months passed by, 3 months passed by, and then the results start to decline because, to see that level of result is going to take a certain level of commitment. And then they start to get discouraged, and then they start to find fault. Oh, this is not working anymore because of this. This is not working anymore because of that. And then we go and we look, and the consistency is not the same. And then the intensity is not the same. And then, and it's like, but Coach Patricia, do you ever take responsibility for your program? Right? I'm like, look, if I'm going to take responsibility for the program, I'm going to take responsibility for personality, on how I say something, on how I coach something that you didn't like, that robbed you off the wrong way, or the delivery of what we are saying. That part I'll take responsibility, because I know sometimes I can rob people off the wrong way, and I have to be like, oh crap, let me apologize, you know what I mean? Because people sometimes, just don't want to hear it. But when it comes to the protocol, girls, I really, 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 really have a hard time with that because I have so much data. That Trainerize is amazing. You know what I mean? Like it's just so self-accountable. I mean, I don't even need to say a word. It's just right there, right? And then we see the you know what I mean, the level of commitment that it changes from time to time. And when somebody's just stuck, then I'm like, I tell it straight up, like, girl, I don't know what to do anymore with you because your body's just not responding. I don't know, right? And so I can take responsibility, but I think that, you know, for self-development purposes, I think that before we start going around blaming, I want to always ask you to look into your, every time you are looking at your results, I want you are not happy with it. I want you to go back 30 days on your app, okay, on your Trainerize. 30 days, it's everything is there. You don't have to, you know, it's not hidden, it's there, right? And I want you to look how consistent you have been with your tracking. I want you to look on your food log for the last 4 weeks, how consistent you have been hitting the macros on your food range, right? On the 10 grams for protein, 10 grams of carbs, and 2 to 4 for fat, and staying around the range for your calories. How, you know, much you have been hitting the 80-20 rules, you know, how much you have improved on your lifts, how much you have been, you know, working in your sleep and taking your supplements properly, right? I want you to first take that inventory, okay? And then you are like, okay, what is missing now? Right? Without saying, oh, but this week this happened and that week that happened. You see what I'm saying? Like you really take a full inventory. And then now you can come to your coach and say, okay, I see that this is taking place. You know, how can you help me improve this? Or what do we need to do to change? Right. So I have a client that commented that, you know, she can't get rid of the, you know, she would like to lose another inch on her waist. And she just feels that, you know, it's stuck. And the first thing we do, girls, before anything is to look the consistency, because not because we are trying to find blame here, but because we're trying to find what is in the gap so we can fix, right? So if someone is completely very consistent and is lifting pretty heavy and nothing is moving, okay, then we got to look into, okay, is she's having any kind of gut issues? Is she's having any kind of hormone imbalance? Did anything change on her HRT? Sometimes people change the doctor's supplement, how can I say, HRT, and they don't even tell us, or they stop taking stuff and don't even tell us. And then when all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you know, I changed my supplement the other day, I changed my estrogen. We were like, well, this was a great information for us to know, you know, when that happened. You see what I'm saying? So then we needed to assess what else. Okay, she's having a glucose spike. Let's test her glucose. Makes sense? So, but the first thing we go look is how consistent you are, right? And if you were pretty consistent, then we were like, okay, cool, let's do a flush protocol. That was perfect what happened with Piper, right? Piper went on a fantastic results, looking amazing. Then she went to Europe for a month traveling. No, Coach Patricia, I promise, you know, I didn't track, but I was really mindful. I did everything, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, whoa, girl, you came back 6 pounds overweight, right? And the nothing we do now, the weight is not coming off. I'm like, let's go all in again. Went all in for 6 weeks, nothing changed. Like, okay, let's do a flush protocol. Boom, dropped the 6 pounds, all inflammation, right? So it was a rebound from the trip. Does that make sense? So I'm just saying, always take a look at your consistency first before you start creating a case of blaming, because if you do that, the next thing's going to happen. You know what it is? You are going to check out. And then you check out, and then you are done, and then you gain the weight back, and then you lose your progress. And we have seen that over and over and over and over again. Okay, so don't check out, don't build a case. You know, as long as you are here, okay, stay with it, stay committed, stay looking at how you can improve, okay? Yourself, your consistency, your level of commitment, stay with that. And then once you're done, you're done. And then if you need to find another coach and go to another program, do the same with them, right? Go all in and keep taking responsibility for your things. Does it make sense, ladies? I'm saying this because the last couple of months, I haven't been the same, okay, with so much going on in my life. And I can see the decline in my body composition. You can't because, you know, I'm posting photos, you know, you can't tell. But when I take my clothes off and I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, I see the difference. You know what I mean? I know I'm not as tight. I know, but and then I'm not going to go and like, I have a coach, right? Yeah, you know, I'm wasting my money with this coach, you know, like I'm not doing anything and she doesn't help me with this and this. I'm like, how consistent am I? Like last week, I didn't even log when I was moving. Normally, you know me, I log, doesn't flipping matter what's going on in my life. But this last week, I don't know what the heck, this move totally threw me off. Okay, so you know, sleeping was terrible. I felt like I was fighting something. You know, there's so many things. And here's the thing I'm going to say, that you really need to write this down. If there was a time for us to slack, it's not right now. If there was a time, girls, for us to slack, it's not right now. Okay? We are not just fighting against, oh, you know, I just gained a couple of pounds and I just need to tighten up my diet and I'll lose the weight. We are coming, there is a force called aging that we are fighting. Okay. So I was like, okay, we have a force. There's something coming against me in a sense, okay, that, you know, I don't want to say that is a terrible thing to age. I'm not saying that, but to age with health, to age strong, to age with grace, yes. But to age declining, no, right? And that's my point, that we are fighting something that if we don't stay on the offense, okay, it will come in a negative way towards us. It's just the default system. Okay, so it's not just we are just here, right? And I'm in my 20s and my 30s and life is just good. There is nothing coming, you know, I just gained the weight because I overate. No, 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 no. This time we are coming against something. So if you think about in a football field, okay, if you are not on the offense, that thing's gonna attack you. And it comes with a force. In 2 months, I saw the difference so quickly that I'm like, holy cow. This has been very interesting to watch, you know, because I have been, for the first time in my life, this is the time when I kind of slacked off a little bit because of all this stuff that is happening. But I'm like, I cannot do that, because my fiance, he has been doing this exactly same things I have, and he has been going to the gym 6 days a week, and he's eating his macros. I'm like, what the heck? Like, if he can do, so can I, right? So why is it that I'm not? Does that make sense? Like, we get into this tendency of justifying things, and that's when you start becoming weaker in your mindset and your commitment level, right? And you see what I mean? And then all of a sudden you look in the mirror, you're like, oh crap, what just happened? And not only that, what is it that I'm feeling now? Right? I'm having brain fog. I'm having this. And I'm one of those girls that, you know, this, I share with you everything, right? I share with you everything, where I am, what I'm doing, what I'm not doing. Okay. And I'm telling you right now that that does not work. We can have grace, but not too much grace, unfortunately, not right now. So would love to open up for, you know, some questions. Would love to open up for some comments. We still have 20 minutes on this call. I don't know, lately I just been thinking before I come to the calls, like I would love to have more of a discussion at these calls. So I'm not just sound like I'm always talking at you, right? I would love to have an interaction, because people learn from other people talking as well and giving examples. So what is in your heart that you would like to share? I know that we normally ask on the check-in form, you know, what question do you have, you know, for the check-in, I mean, for the community group call. And I had people, you know, asking some great questions there. What people do when they fall off the wagon? What do they do to cope? That was a great question. I can't remember who shared that. There was somebody else asking, I can't remember right now. But what questions do you have? You know, because normally we don't see each other until, you know, Monday. So, but I would love to give any tips or any insights or anything. Anybody?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Tanya.
I think the challenge partly is to just knowing what's possible and what to expect while enjoying the challenge of getting there. You know, you have to accept where you are today and then do your best to do what you're told to do and to comply with the fitness and the nutrition requirements. But I think part of the challenge is also setting your expectations to be reasonable for what can be accomplished and how long it's going to take. And then that once you reach the end or wherever you're comfortable with, it's not done. Like you don't just get to say, okay, now I can go back to eating and drinking and not caring about myself. You have to continue doing it. And I think that's maybe part of the challenge for some folks is we're so used to kind of having a direction and attacking a problem and succeeding, and then you move on to the next project. But this is kind of a lifelong project, so you can live longer, healthier.
Right. How did you make that shift for you? Because obviously, when you came to work with us, you know, you didn't look terrible, but you were not where you wanted to be. And, you know, you didn't have a structure of things, but, you know, you came to make a change and you have been doing amazing. So what happened? How did you shift the mindset for you?
I
So
actually
you could,
don't think for me it was a mindset shift because I've always worked out and tried to eat relatively healthy, just not knowing the right balance of foods. But it has been the fact that I made progress. So I gained some weight, right, like 10 pounds or whatever it was, and
Mm,
knew that with everything I was doing, I shouldn't be continuing to gain weight, knowing some of it's just the menopause problem, but
mhm,
that there has to be ways to manage it so I don't continue to get heavier and heavier.
mhm.
And so the mindset shift was just I need help. So let me get some help. Um, I appreciate your comments that I've done well and that, you know, it didn't look bad when I started because I've always been relatively thin and I worked out because I was in the army. So I always had the structure and the discipline. But it's more just having your help and Coach Lindsay's help in figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing and then sticking with it and knowing that there are days you don't and there are weeks that you can't. And you just do your best to get right back on and start it back up the next day when you can.
I love that. So good. Yeah, I think that, you know, the more, how can I say, there was a time, you know, in coaching that I was just like, no, you know, you gotta go all in. You have to be like you cross every T and you dot every I, you know. And I think that was that driven, you grind, you know, that, you know, people taught so much and personality type A's, you know, I'm more like that. But the more I am in this boat with you girls, you know, the more that I'm learning, you know, especially when you are so deep into that, right? I'm going to be 50 years old in January, you know, and I mean, it's been an amazing journey, you know, these 40s, but I'm learning now to be more in tune with my body, to be more in tune, not even with my body, but what I actually need, right? For, you know what I mean? Like you're talking about some weeks, I absolutely just can't. It's not like I don't want to, right? I just can't physically go all in because once I push my body, it just pushes right back at me. So it's more like this thing that I keep coaching that for us, less is more, less is more, less is more. And when we do it with quality, right? So never in a million years I thought that I would be doing 3 days and 4 days maximum of strength training, and that's it. And to have an incredible, you know, muscle building and body composition is like mind blowing, you know, compared to thinking that I had to work out 6 days a week, and then there was days that I would do 2 a day, right? Like I would kill myself if I would do this now. Does that make sense? And then to be able to, you know, 3 nights that I don't sleep 7 to 8 hours, day 3, I'm like a complete mess. I mean, who can relate to that? right? And I am on hormone therapy, you know, and I am drinking enough water and I'm trying to do all things, right? But so I'm like, okay, so how do we learn how to navigate this? Right? Instead of like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm horrible. Look at this. This is wrong with me. This is like, no, you learn how to give to your body what your body needs with quality, and then it gets the response. Does that make sense? Like, look at, you know, the people that are doing the flush. They don't work out for 2 weeks on the flush. It's just like yoga. You can do a little bit of Pilates, maybe, you know, do some body aid for 2 weeks, no workout. Just stop and think about that. And they lose weight, they feel better, they look tight. Like, how does that make any sense? Because it starts to help the endocrine system, they start to help the adrenal system, they start to help balance the cortisol, the glucose, all those things get improved. And then they start looking better and you know, and getting more results. Does that make sense? Opposed to, let me go all in and just crush everything and and crash. So anybody else would like to share?
I have a question. So when I started this program, my kitchen, well, still under construction because we've had problems with the contractor, and I find myself struggling with, because I'm kind of doing a reverse. I'm doing a reverse. So when my calories have increased, I find that there's days where I've hit my macros, but I'm still under by 100 calories, and that's, I'm struggling with balancing macros and calorie count.
Okay, I love that. So it's gonna be hard to hit both, right? But understand that the body doesn't understand macros, the body will understand calories. So we don't want to be too off on your calories. So I normally say between 30 and 70 calories above or below your target, you're pretty good. Okay, so you don't need to freak out about that. I try to stay as much as I can around 45, 50. So the only way you're going to do that, it's not to, how can I say, overthink too much on the macro side, but more in a sense of using that range that I talked about. I don't know if you remember the macros coaching call. So the 10 grams above or below target for carbs and protein, and 2 to 4 grams above or below target for fat. If you stay in range with those numbers, it's not going to be perfect like that. Like the other day, I ended up going 6 grams over my fat instead of 4, but then it helped my calories to be where my calories are needed to be, right? So I don't think you need to become an OCD about it, you know what I mean? Because that's when it creates anxiety and it creates like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm totally failing on this thing. So, but if you stay between 30 and 70 in your calories, you're good. So like you're 30 calories off, right? For 100 calories, okay? So just to have maybe, I don't know, another half a cup of berries. Oh, but I already hit my carbs, Patricia. Okay, so maybe have a couple of egg whites, right? Or maybe grab, you know, a couple of nuts just so you can complete those calories a little bit, so you can bring them a little bit closer. Does that make sense? I just don't want you to go, like, for example, you know, the challenge that we had with a lot of women in the past was not so much right now, but especially the ones that were under eating, is that when we would give this range, they would always undereat. You know, it was always like -10, -5, -10 for everything. And I'm like, okay, I gave you the range, but why are you always on the last side? Because they were afraid of eating more. And I would be like, no, girl, like give me more right then, if that's the case, right? It's a lot about a mindset, but just pay attention. Like if you have like 100 calories more, look at which macros you could add a little bit more, just increasing that portion size to see if you can bring the calories a little bit tighter. Does that make sense? Okay. Sorry.
That it helps. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I want to see how you're going to do that. Anybody else? Any other questions on anything? Cool.
Hey, Coach, I had a question. So, when I'm on my cycle, right, I try to eat things that like will give me more iron, or like, you know, having beef or something like that. Do you have any resources on how to eat to time with your cycle? Like during certain phases, you should eat maybe certain things and avoid certain things. I was just wondering if you have any resources on that.
Love that question. Yeah, we do have a resource called seed cycling. You want to send that to her, Coach Lindsay or Coach Holly? This one we got from the registered dietitian, and you can find this one easily on online as well. But you know, when it comes to our cycle, the most important thing is going to be the fats, the type of fats that we are eating. They support a lot of they support balancing our hormones a lot. So the iron, unless you were bleeding like crazy, I don't know. Do you bleed really heavily? What's happening there?
I guess compared to several years ago, it is heavier now than it used to be like 5 or 6 years ago. But in that time, I also gave birth, and since then things changed. But I was telling Coach Holly like last week when I was on my cycle, I just felt completely wiped out, like brain fog, like I forgot to eat certain things, even though I had planned for them. And it was just so weird. I felt so exhausted and so tired. And as soon as my cycle ended, I was back to normal. And I told her I'll watch how it is next month too, to see if it's related to like what, when I have my cycle. But that week I ate more beets, I ate beef, trying to figure out what was going on. But that didn't seem to help much either.
Yeah, I would say the seed cycling could possibly help you a lot more because, like you said, you ate more iron, it didn't help, right? Because from what I understand, the healthy fats, are the ones that are going to help you more. The other thing that I start doing, and actually, but this is something that it takes time. Okay, girls, it's not like you do it 1 month and then you know what's happening. So I purchased a test called the Mira. Let me see what the name is. It's just called Mira. Anyways, it's like 200 something dollars on Amazon. Okay, it's a little pricey to be honest. But I bought this test. Is a for fertility, a woman that it needs to check their fertility or whatever, they use this test. So you pretty much pee right on this stick or whatever, just get her. And first thing in the morning, when you first pee, 5 days prior to your cycle, and then 5 days after your cycle. So you want to do that for a good 2-3 months so you can get a good reading, because it starts to show a graphic, and then it really shows how your hormones are really fluctuating during your pre and your post cycle. And then based on how bad you were feeling, right, then we can now start to program your workouts a little bit different. And we can also give other, how can I say, support with your nutrition to eat certain foods because of that imbalance that is taking place. Makes sense? So it's a little bit more of an in-depth work that you got to monitor. I'm doing that so I can learn this process, and it's you're just like, oh my God, there's one more thing, right? But if you are one of those that you are not feeling, too good, for your, with PMSing, this could be an option. I'm learning, this with Sarah right now from, the MMU certification that I'm taking. And I'm curious because this is going to be my 3rd month, and now that's what we're going to start testing this. So, I'm always testing new things, but in no time I have heard about, the iron thing, unless you were really, really bleeding heavily. But yeah, Coach Holly, just send her the the seed cycling for her period, and then it's very self-explanatory. Try that for next month and see what that will do for you. And if things don't get better, then I would say really get the Mira and let's start programming. Because the other thing is if you are for your cycle, right, really minimizing any crazy heavy lifting. If you're having crazy symptoms like that, obviously that's what you're going to have to do without feeling guilty or whatsoever, because that's what your body's going to need. Make sense? So during that time is you're gonna do much better off to do a yoga, you know, to do a Pilates, go for a walk, opposed to pushing your body, because you're not gonna be able to anyways. But I don't want you to feel guilty because you can't. Does that make sense? That's exactly what your body don't need right now. Got it?
Just so you know, I posted the seed cycling in the chat, so they have that.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. Yep, thanks so much.
Keep us posted, okay? Anybody else? I love that closet there, phone 193. Your closet looks amazing compared to mine right now. I'm like, they have like, I have this closet for the master bedroom and they made it, oh my gosh, I just want to, you know, like call the owner of the house, like, what the hell, you know, how did you create a master closet like this? They don't, you know, like they don't have the part where, you know, the dresses can hang all the way to the floor. You have that thing in the middle. I'm like, anyways, but I look at your closet there, I was like, oh, I'm drooling on it. I'm like, I need that. I just had to buy shelves and everything for mine. Anyways, all right, girls, we have 6 minutes. Would love to, you know, to support you with any more questions. Anybody, any comments, anything? Priya, I see you.
Yeah. I kind of have the opposite issue. I know you were talking about where if there is something going wrong with your program, then think about what you are doing wrong or whatever, you know, check out your consistency, everything. For me, I always believe that if something is not going right, it's my fault. So this is, I don't know. So even if it is something I don't know how to switch asking, you know, for help, it stops me from asking for help. You know, I just assume that it's all me that who's doing badly, even though I feel that, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 7 or 8. But I feel, I don't know what this is. I'm not able to change this about myself, or if anybody can give me a tip on that, you know, to be more confident about asking for help in the program. That's something that I would like. I don't know if this can be helped at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing because, you know, I think that that's definitely a thing. Anybody can relate to
One
you
person.
know, right? Being wanting to, I'm exactly the same, right? Like to need help and don't ask for help. I have a place, not when it comes, I just lied because, you know, even with my coach, right? I have a coach and I'm going through, you know, this season right now. I haven't told her any of this. I'm just doing on my own because probably because I'm a coach and I know what to do. I don't know. Maybe because you think that you know what to do and you're like, I already know what to do, right? Could that be it?
I feel, I don't know, again, it's the cultural, little bit of it is cultural. I also feel that I'm an elder child. I'm elder of two girls. And I think I was always told that I have to be the more responsible one. You know, you got this, and, you know, don't whine, you know, get the job done. You know, what are you whining about? What do you have to complain? Just kind of repetitive, you know, conditioning. I feel there's a lot of that. I don't know. I mean, having said that, being on this program has changed the way that I present myself, uh, you know, to everybody. So, for example, I'm on the flush right now, and I already know that there's Diwali coming up, and I'm going to have to go to so many parties, and I'm already texting my friends, whoever they've called me, and I said, hey, I'm going to show up at your place, but do not force me to eat because I can't. So this is, so me taking charge like a week before, whereas there it would have been, I would have gone there, I would have made some excuse, whatever. You know, it's like the whole, you know, song and dance of, you know, I don't want to hurt this person's feeling or that one's feeling. While inside I'm dying because this is what I want to do. I know this is good for me. You know, that whole dichotomy of going through the motions and the emotions. So I feel a lot of it is that, you know, hurting someone else's feeling. But also I wanted to add to one point. I know that, you know, these kind of things cannot be solved overnight by one call in 6 minutes or however much time we have. it's something, it's good for me to get it out, you know, in a safe space. But the other thing I did want to say is, and some other topic that we were talking about, and I wanted to say that I do believe in this last few months that I've been with you since January, I feel that I have realized that the journey is the destination. Attaching a destination to your goals cannot really help, because I can tell you, because I just ran my 10K 2 days ago, and that whole process and the process of being with the program has really helped me figure out that it's not going to be one day, it's not going to be someday, it's just a process, and you have to learn to kind of enjoy that process, however bad, good. Oh, thank you, Amber. Right back at
Wow, so good.
I just feel that that's what it is. Some days, like somebody else mentioned, it's not going to be as good as the others. So, but I have a,
Wow, that was so good. What did you say? If it's not today, it's not someday, is a what?
it's just the journey, it's a process, the whole
It's just a
process.
process. I
And you
love
do it
that.
process. And if you're fighting the process all the time, no, I must do my macros, or that's otherwise I'm going to die. No, I'm going to, you know, that's fighting. It has to come just naturally, flow. I think that flow
Mm.
process is what we all have to aim to. I don't know if it's ever going to come, but something to aim towards.
Oh my goodness, girl, that was so good. I loved it so much. It feels so yummy. Like, I love it. So good. Um, yes, Priya, that's beautiful, girl. I think that the inner transformation, right? I think when we just stay so focused on this, main outcome, the main outcome, what is this scale? What is the number? How do I look? Like, we just stay so obsessed with that and we miss, right, going through this. Okay, what is this meaning to me? Why is this happening? Why do I think the way I think? Why don't ask for help? Whoa, let me put myself out there and do that. Right? This journey, okay, to better your body can just start touching everything else in your life, right? And becomes this beautiful transformation. I don't know. I just find it fascinating. I love that. I love that. Anybody else? Because we do have another call coming through. I would love to share more on this, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I would love to have these calls, girls, and I would love for you to share, more on these calls because you also are a gift to each other, So, I was talking to my fiance, and I'm gonna leave you with this because we have another call. I was talking to my fiance this morning on our walk, and he's been doing, some coaching with another guy, and I was like, how it's been? And he's like, well, it's okay. I was like, what's good? And he said, yeah, there are a couple of things that I got from it that it really impacted me. And I asked what it was, and he shared, and I was like, it's so interesting, right? How we put so much pressure on coaches and teachers and programs. And even for me, when I'm coming in here to share with you, there's a lot of pressure because I want to deliver. I want to impact you. I want you to get your money's worth. I want you to come out of this call and feeling inspired and motivated. I know when we do your check-ins, we want you like, just give you everything because we know you are paying for something. Like we want to, to deliver. But sometimes it's just one gold nugget you're gonna get, right? It's like those little crumbs, in the path, Today you're gonna pick this one up. Next week you're gonna pick that one. Next check-in is gonna be something else Coach Hall is gonna say. The next check-in is gonna be something Coach Lindsay, right? You keep picking up those gold nuggets, those little crumbs along the way, right? And then at the end, you're just like, holy cow, this thing really impacted me, right? This thing really doesn't, it's not going to be always this amazing call with everybody crying and everybody, oh my gosh, this was an amazing call with Patricia. He's so inspiring. I'm like, I can't deliver that. I cannot even put this pressure on myself. But if I can drop a gold nugget for you today, you can live with that. And even if you didn't get it from me, you got from Priya. Even if you didn't get from Priya, you got from me. See what I'm saying? This is what a community is. I really don't want to have this pressure on me anymore. You know what I mean? I'm like, I hope I can help you today. If I can't, hoping somebody else will. But we are community, so come ready to share your stories, to share what is working for you, to share your wins, to share your tips, because you guys are doing the work, right? You are in the field getting it done. You see what I'm saying? So share with the community, okay? Because your opinion and your stories are so powerful, and we really appreciate that. All right, girls, we'll see you next week. Talk to you later. Bye.